Red Sox prospect Jarren Duran is reportedly being called up on Thursday. Let's talk about it next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5. As always, make sure to follow and stream us on Spotify. Today is Thursday, July 15th. I am Frank Stanfield, joined by Scott White, and finally, it's happening. Outfield prospect Jarren Duran, 24 years old. He was hitting .270 with 15 home runs and 12 steals at AAA, 47% rostered. Scott, is Jarren Duran a must-add in fantasy baseball?
It probably falls a little short of that, particularly in 3 outfielder leagues. You know, he's not quite a prospect on the level of Wander Franco or Jarred Kelenic. And both of those guys, I mean, they didn't make the immediate impact we hoped they would upon arrival. Kelnick, of course, got sent back down. So just given the lack of success for prospect call-ups as a whole over the past 2 seasons, you should treat Duran as more like a lottery ticket than somebody who's definitely going to make an impact for your team down the stretch. But it's very possible he does. Potential 5 category contributor, was really kind of remade himself this year. It wasn't considered that much of a prospect, even in the offseason. He didn't show up on many top 100 lists, but made some changes to his swing last year, worked with hitting guru Doug Latta, really tapped into his power more and became more of a power hitter instead of a slap hitting speedster. So, everybody took notice in spring training, and now finally here he is. I'm surprised it took this long with the Red Sox competing and having a clear opening in center field. But here he is, and hopefully he delivers.
It also sounds like the Mariners' top prospect, Jarred Kelenic. Very similar names there. Jarren. It sounds like Jarred Kelenic could be recalled as well for the start of the second half. So, Scott, if you were choosing between the two, would you rather have Kelenic or Duran?
Kelnick. I liked what I saw in his first stint up here. I know the final numbers didn't look great, but he did not seem overmatched for the first couple weeks on the job and kept the strikeout rate low and just had bad luck on balls in play. And I think things kind of unraveled from there. He started pressing. Took him a while to get back on track at AAA, but he definitely got there. I think he has both a higher floor and a higher ceiling than Jarren Duran.
The trade deadline is rapidly approaching, so let's talk about a few relievers that could be traded and then who might be the closer after those guys are traded away. And for the Texas Rangers, we know Ian Kennedy has 15 saves, prime trade candidate. The reliever that I'm looking at here, Scott, Spencer Patton. He's pitched in the 8th inning in their most recent save, and he's got pretty good numbers.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't been up for a long time, so those pretty good numbers could turn pretty bad pretty quickly. But there is nobody else in that Rangers bullpen who has a better claim to being next in line. We saw Ian Kennedy get hurt earlier, and really there was nobody to step in for him during that stretch he was out. So Spencer Patton, if you want to speculate on saves, he's not a bad idea.
For the Marlins, Yimi Garcia has 13 saves this year, but a 6.57 ERA in 14 appearances since the start of June. I guess he could be traded. The one that I'm looking at there is Anthony Bender, who has a 1.84 ERA on the season and actually has their most recent save. He might actually take over even if Yimi Garcia isn't traded. The next one up here, the Cubs, Craig Kimbrell, having an awesome season, 20 saves this year. Definitely could be traded as they are 8 games back in the National League Central. The Cubs are. I'm looking at Andrew Chafin, Scott. He's a lefty in their bullpen. Ryan Tepera has had a very good year. He's a right-handed pitcher, so who would you speculate on there for the Cubs?
Tepera, him being the right-hander, him being a little bit better of a bat misser. Both of them have whips well below 1 this year. So yeah, either of them would make sense, but I think Tepera makes a little more sense. The Cubs have a lot of interesting candidates though. If Kimbrell leaves, a couple of them are on the IL, Dylan Maples and Justin Steele. But I don't think it's for sure. Dan Winkler's in that mix too. I don't think it's for sure Ryan Tepera would take over, but he would be my first choice.
For the Pirates, we'll stick in the National League Central. Richard Rodriguez has 12 saves this season, could be moved, and I believe Will Bednar would be the next man up. He has pitched in the 8th inning in each of the last 2 saves for the Pirates, and then the last 2 here in the National League Central for the Diamondbacks. Joaquim Soria has their last 3 saves. Noe Ramirez has pitched in the 8th inning in 2 of those games. And then for the Rockies, Daniel Bard has 14 saves. Carlos Estevez has pitched in the 8th in 3 of their last 4 saves. I mean, we're going real deep here, Scott, but do you have any differing opinion for the Diamondbacks or the Rockies?
Not really. Not really. If we're speculating on saves for the second half, though, I would look at Zach Britton, who's due back from the IL for the Yankees, and Aroldis Chapman, since the crackdown on foreign substances began, has just been a disaster. His ERA has gone from about 0.5 to about 4.5 in a month's time, and they really seem to be losing confidence in him at the end of games. And Zach Britton, of course, has been a good closer in the past. So if he's healthy, maybe he steps in. It's possible.
For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, your smart speakers, or anywhere else podcasts are found. And thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. If you enjoyed the pod, please leave a 5-star review on Apple. We'll be back again tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.